Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Tips from the Top call. We have special guest leader, Kendra Campbell, joining us, and she is going to be sharing, sorry, I have something in my eye. She is going to be sharing her summer tips for selling and booking. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kendra and let her take over the call today.
Oh, sorry. I just had a sneeze. It was about to come out. It probably will come out in a minute. Oh, God. This is going to be an interesting phone call. Sorry. I knew it was coming. Oh, my gosh.
Usually when you say the word sneeze, it stops.
I'm so sorry.
Away.
Oh, what a disaster I am today. I'm like I'm a human, breathing, walking.
Guess what, Kendra? You're real.
Okay, that's true.
Your authentic self.
This is real life. So thank you for having me on today. And I wanted to just share some booking tips that I've kind of gathered over the past couple years being with One Hope, because I know that summer can be tricky. People are traveling, kids are out of school, kids are at camp, your hosts are traveling, you're traveling, schedules can be crazy. So I just have a few kind of tips and tricks that I've used over the past couple of years. Number one, summer is really, really important. And a lot of people, I think the inclination is to check out during the summer because it's summer and it's kind of an easy, more relaxed pace for a lot of people. But the reality is right after summer is fall and it's holiday, and that's our best time of the year. And kind of the harsh reality is if you totally close up shop over the summer, it's going to take you that much longer to get back up and running in September and October. And I know most people want to have a business ready to go to come back to. So being consistent, whether that means having one tasting a month, whether that means, reaching out to a few corporate gifting clients each month, just keep the wheels on the bike turning. Even if it's a slower pace for you, it's going to pay off big time come the fall. So that's really why summer is important. A couple of things to do. I'm a huge calendar person. So if you haven't done it yet, fill in your calendar right now for June, July, and August of all the things you and your family have going on, whether you're traveling, your kids' summer camp schedule, any summer big activities, parties, weddings, whatever it is. Fill it in on your calendar so you're ready to go. So when you're talking to your host, you know what you've got going on. You know what you're working with. Consider changing up your tasting time. So I'm going to kind of give you my own experience just based on my own life, and you could adapt it to your own. I'm a mom. My husband travels. He's a pilot. And oftentimes I have my tastings on weekend nights. That's just generally what works for me and my schedule. What I found over the summer is that weekend nights can be tricky for people. So I open up my weeknights during the summer. A lot of people, that just seems to work better. People aren't traveling necessarily during the midweek. They're home. It's just a lot easier to get them. So consider varying up your tasting schedule. Also, Sunday brunches are kind of a nice time to have a tasting. If people are going to be at the beach all day, you could have a tasting from 10 to 12, and people still have the afternoon to get out and enjoy the nice weather. So something to think about. I am using notes today, and I apologize. I'm not usually a notes person, but my mind is so crazy lately that I had to write things down. Let's see. Also consider doing a tasting on the go or traveling for a tasting. So again, I live in the Boston area. A lot of people in Massachusetts go to Cape Cod on the weekends. If you live in New York City, people might go to the Hamptons or the Jersey Shore. And I know, like Tracy, you're in Colorado. I'm sure there's different areas of the country that people kind of gravitate to on the weekends. So I have a girlfriend who I know goes to the Cape every summer for 2 weeks. We're going to do a tasting together in August. I'm going to go down there. It's a little out of my way, but it's going to put me in front of a lot of new people. I'm going to go out to Seattle this summer to see my sister. I'm traveling. I'm going to do a tasting when I'm there. So you can kind of, if you want to, like, build in tastings when you're traveling, you can write it off as a business expense. So that's kind of fun. I'm not a tax professional, but it's kind of nice. And you're going to get in front of a whole new market of people. Like, I don't know anybody in Seattle besides my sister. So it's a great opportunity to grow your business if you're willing to sacrifice 2 or 3 hours of your trip, which for me, that works. Let's see. And if you don't have anybody that you know on vacation, ask for referrals. All of us have these great networks of people on social media. Who do you know that lives in wherever you're traveling. It could be South Carolina, it could be Florida, it could be Texas, it could be Maine, wherever. Ask for referrals and reach out and connect with people. And in terms of thinking outside of your network, again, I'm a mom of 2 young kids. Over the summer, they go to summer camps. So I know all the moms in my kids' classes already. The year's over, I know them all. But you can bet when I'm going to these new camps and new camp drop-offs and new ballet classes and new gymnastics classes, there's a whole new network of moms that I've never met before that initial conversation is, oh, hi, I'm Charlotte's mom. Hi, I'm Jenny's mom. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? That's the question that people always ask. Ask that question to the person you're talking to, because then they're going to ask you back, and you can tell them all about One Hope and all about the super fun wine tastings that you do. So consider all those new people that you might meet, whether it's your kids, whether you're traveling to new places, whatever it is. Consider trying to grow your network over the summer. In terms of who your host might be, again, for me, I'm a 39-year-old mom with young kids. 90% of my hosts are moms like me, who I know right now are running around like lunatics. So I've been focusing on hosts that are not like me. So I'm talking to teachers, I'm talking to hosts that either don't have kids or that have, infants and toddlers that aren't in school yet. I'm talking to the moms whose kids are in college. They've flown the nest. They're already out of the house. Those are the people whose lives don't necessarily change a lot in May and June. It's sort of the status quo. So kind of think about who you're targeting. I'm also reaching out to folks that I know that love to entertain, folks that have beautiful backyards with a swimming pool, or folks that live near the beach, or folks that have that beautiful yard and outside, patio that people dream about. They want to have a wine tasting outside. It's a perfect opportunity to talk to those people. And I sort of like to mention that's why I called them, like to say, like, I thought of you when I was thinking of a great tasting in July. It would be gorgeous in your backyard. It's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And it seems to work. So that's something else to consider, is switching up kind of your target hosts. Also, use your social media connections for people that are fundraising. There are tons and tons and tons of runs and walks that happen over the summer. There's 1,000 of them. I live in Massachusetts, so a big one for us is the Falmouth Road Race that happens in August. I have 2 tastings the first week in June that are gals that are running the Falmouth Road Race, and they're fundraising. So those are my hosts. What? Sorry, guys. Yes, you can have a cheese stick. A couple other big races that come up in the fall, the Marine Corps Marathon and the Chicago Marathon, are both in October, and people from out of state run those races. So even if you're in Colorado, you're in Massachusetts, you're in Florida, you're whatever, think about those larger races and reach out to those folks because they start fundraising now. I have another tasting in August for a Chicago Marathon runner that runs in October. We're going to start fundraising now over the summer. Yeah, sorry guys. She wants a cheese stick. And then the more obvious too is like, who are your white wine lovers? We just had those 3 new white wines get released. Like, who are the people that during the winter are like, do you have any sweet white wines? And you say no because it's winter and we have a lot of reds to offer that are awesome. And now we have these great whites. So think of those people as well. Do you want to come say hi? You go say hi. And then kind of the last thing. So again, I hate to just speak about my own personal kind of how I run my business, but I know for me over the summer, I'm probably not going to have as many tastings as I normally have, and that's okay. But what I am going to do is be creative with my time. So this little one is going to be in camp 2 weeks this summer for 5 mornings from 9 to 12. So I can't have a tasting on a Tuesday morning from 9 to 12, but I am doing a lot of reaching out to different corporate gifting possibilities and realtors in my area and finance people in the area that I can hopefully connect with for coffee on a Wednesday at 9:30, because again, that's going to set me up come fall when we're talking about holiday and corporate gifting. I've already made these connections. So trying to just take advantage of the time that we have, I think is really, really important. What else? I feel like I just like verbally vomited all that information out really, really fast. I don't know. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you.
Kendra, I loved that you brought up that the timing that you have in the summer that opens up is some morning time. So you figured out the best way to utilize that time and do coffee and, meet someone in their office or something along those lines for future contacts. Hi there.
See here? That's Sabrina.
Oh my gosh. The cutest. And so I just feel like that's a really great tip, because you may think like, okay, well, that's just wasted time because I can't do a tasting during that time. Well, you can reach out to a lot of people during that time.
Yeah, you can do a lot during, again, like I have to try to be, you got it? I try to be super creative with my time, especially like come September, she'll go back to being in school. If you guys have ever had kids in preschool, by the time you drop them off, you got to go back and pick them up. Like there's no time to do anything. So knowing now, like, oh, great, I have these 2 weeks over the summer that she'll be in camp from 8:30 to 12, Monday through Friday. That's unheard of. And so trying to just figure out how to capitalize on that time that we have.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Does anyone have any questions or any tips they'd like to share that has worked for them during the summer?
Oh, Tracy just said,
hey, this is Alicia. Oh,
no, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I just unmuted myself. I want to make sure I pressed the right button. So you mentioned about people that are doing the runs and the walks, and they have to fundraise, so how would that work when the company cuts a check? Do they just make a note in the memo section saying, this is for this specific person's fundraising? Okay, I wasn't sure if they could do it that way.
So there's a couple things that I would suggest for you to do, and I do a lot. I'd say more than half of my tastings are for people that are fundraising for either a run or a walk. Ask your host. Sometimes the nonprofit will give each runner or walker an ID number. So ask her if they've done that. And if they haven't, then I would just put her name in the memo field. What also I would recommend doing is, depending on the size of the nonprofit, is giving them a quick call and just saying you're going to be getting a check in the mail from the One Hope Foundation in the amount of, tell them what the amount is, and then tell them which runner it's supposed to go to. If it's a smaller nonprofit, I've never had a problem. But if you're sending a check like that to, say, a nonprofit like St. Jude's Hospital, for example, that gets a lot of checks in the mail, sometimes giving them that extra heads up will just make it a little bit easier for them. And then they manually add it into their fundraising page.
Okay, good. Because I have somebody that's doing it's a 100-mile bike ride around a lake for AIDS research. So I'm going to try to hit him up for that. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and check on another thing to consider is the timing too. So if the race is in September.
It is actually, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to want to hold that tasting at the latest in July. So you could submit the donation check request by July 31st, and they'll get the check in August so that he has that money in before the race. Sometimes I know depending on the race, there's a pretty large minimum that people have to hit prior to the day of the race. So just ensuring that they're in time, I think, is really important.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Mom, why do this? And Tracy mentioned in the chat box, thanks for the reminder. I had a gal who told me once her new backyard and deck are done, she wants to do a tasting. Just sent her a note. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Outside is perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions?
You don't have any questions? Want to say bye? Here. Say bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right, go play with your sister. I'll be there in a second. Talk about real life. I'm like, oh my God, I came in. I was like, don't come in the office when I'm on the computer. It'll be 20 minutes. They were like, okay. That didn't work, did it?
She wanted cheese.
Yeah, she did. Cheese is important. Priorities. It's all about priorities.
Yes.
Right?
Well, thank you,
Well, I
everyone.
hope that was helpful.
Yeah, and thank you, Kendra, for sharing your tips. I think that was super helpful, especially as we go into the summer months. So, as always, I will be posting this recording on the community page, so you can share with your team or any fellow CEOs that you feel like might learn from Kendra's tips. And thank you so much for jumping on today's call. And we have tomorrow, we have Feedback Friday on the community page, so be sure to jump on that. And we'll see you next week. Everyone have a great
Okay.
Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.